Greenwich Village and Washington Square Park have been in the news lately. Actually, as we'll see, as of today, it's more increasingly in the news. I don't think people really understand what's going on, and so I decided to make this video. I made this video of some pictures that I took this morning. So I'm going to show you some pictures of what the neighborhood looks like that I took this morning. I just woke up and didn't prepare anything. But before I do that, I think I'm going to give some context to this. This is a post of mine as of last fall, October 2020. I had seen syringes in my neighborhood in Washington Square Park. You know, for the entire time I've lived here, which is 21 years, in the northwest corner, but in Washington Square Park, there's always someone going smoke, smoke, weed, weed, smoke, smoke, selling drugs. And this was the first time I got out my camera and took a picture of a syringe. I'm not sure how well you can see it there. I brought some to take pictures of close up. That was last year. I've taken more pictures of them since then. And then as of May 29th, 2021, the New York Post did a story of Washington Square Park drug den horrifying Greenwich Village neighbors. And this story, here's a little preview. Mayhem in Washington Square Park. This is last night, actually technically this morning. I'll get to that in a bit. And these pictures of this, I would guess, was a reporter went down and took some quick pictures, because these are pretty tame compared to how it looks most of the time. This is people smoking. I mean, people are smoking crack here. A young man shooting up into a vein in his arm without a care who was watching, drawing blood into the barrel of the syringe, shaking the syringe. This is what I see. The other day, maybe a week or two ago, was the first time I was walking through and just saw someone shooting, broad daylight, the needle going right into the arm, into the tattoo. And I'd seen people doing drugs, but not actually piercing the skin. And I visibly winced, involuntarily. So that's what's going on. Then let's jump forward to June 11th. So today is June 19th. So just over a week ago, there's an article by Brandon Del Pozo, who's a former police officer. He served for 19 years in NYPD. And he wrote a piece in the Daily News saying how things got so bad. And he says, there have been rules there's been arrests, fists, batons, pepper spray, small riot. How did it get to that way? Well, it will always get out of control if you let it. It looms large in people's imagination. So there are rules, like you're not allowed to skateboard, but you're not allowed to ride motorized vehicles, like scooters in the park. You're not allowed to do drugs and so forth. And urinating on century-old statues, needles, baggies, feces, urine, garbage. This is normal. I want to make it clear. As of last summer, this is normal. Now, I go, as you may know, I pick up garbage every day. And in particular, I go to Washington Square Park, the northwest corner, and pick up at least one piece in general and at least 3 pieces in the northwest corner. I've been doing that for over a year. I'm there every day. I was there in pouring rain. I'm there when it's snowing, and no one's there in the snow, and I have to go find litter under the snow to make sure that I get my 3 pieces. And, the guys there, it's all guys. The weed dealers are all guys. The heroin and crack users are probably 60-40, male to female. A couple of them talk to me. I've developed, not friendships, but relationships with a couple. And we know each other. Actually, I'm going to tell you a story that one time I went to go pick up what I thought was litter on a bench. And when I went to reach for it, another guy comes up in my face. He's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And he's appears to me one of the drug users. And I'm like, I thought this was trash. Actually, what I say to most people is, "Do you know who I am?" Because usually when I say that, they're like, "Who are you?" And I go, "I'm the guy who picks up every day." And they go, "Oh, okay, yeah, we know you." Anyway, this time this guy's getting in my face, because I was apparently picking up his stuff. It wasn't litter. He just wasn't anywhere near it. And while he's in my face, another person comes up and gets in between the two of us and gets in that guy's face and says, no, man, he's cool. He's here every day. He picks up litter. So I'm kind of known there. Last summer, fall, it got kind of bad as I had that picture of the syringe. But And then in the winter, most people aren't really there. I mean, the weed dealers are there, but not the heroin and crack users. But then in the spring, the weather's gotten really warm, and they're coming back out again. And so the police came in and made, I think, 22, 23 arrests by clearing out the park at 10 p.m. Normally midnight is when it closes. So last Saturday night, it sent scores of police officers with helmets and batons to clear Washington Square Park at 10 to enforce the curfew 2 hours before. So this shows up the next day. Here's my Twitter feed. And there's a bunch of people who say, this is sad. Washington Square Park last night, law enforcement and wealthy interests further murdering the character of New York City. I want to put this into context. Someone says, Andrew Yang posted, Washington Square Park has always been a place to gather and enjoy summer nights. Setting officers into riot gear and militarizing public park isn't the answer. Residence issues can be addressed without making the situation more dangerous. It's not just residence issues. It's a public park. It's everyone, every citizen has a share of this. I mean, residents have, I think, a bit more, but everyone does. Everyone has a right to use the park. It's a public park. So I said to him, I've lived here since the 90s and cleaned the park daily. I invite you to help and clean up. Here's a picture of the syringes. So I linked to that blog post. Now he hasn't accepted my invitation to come pick up litter with me. But I want to point out, police brutally enforcing the rich as fuck neighbors get mad about noise. It's just people being outside during the pandemic or just being irresponsible, actually. So this person is conflating what the police are doing with people who live nearby. So I wrote and said, I can't speak to the cops, but I can speak to the park's condition. I invite you to help join me to clean it up. So she was insulting me, Erin Biba, and just saying it's all about property values. Maybe she was quoting one thing, but people are saying that this is about people just want to go and listen to music. Then on the 17th, which is 2 days ago, the cops have a Build the Block meeting. Now, I've been going to Build the Block meetings for a while now, at least a year. Usually 4 or 5 people show up. This time, there's a line around the block to the building, and however many people you see that made it in here, there was a lot more that didn't get in. I was in line outside, and I couldn't get in because it got closed before I got to the front. And people are framing this as all of this because of a little music, some teenager smoking a cigarette. As of today, woman trampled in Washington Square as revelers flee from man waving taser, or the New York, the Post, taser wielding madman sparks mayhem in Washington Square Park, cops say. So here's the guy that claims he was set up by his sister, it says in the story. I saw a guy following another guy. There was a taser in his neck at one point. So this woman was bloodied, almost run over by the stampede. Now the cops, as you'll notice, they all spend their time around the arch. I've almost never in the past year seen a cop not right here talking to other cops. On Memorial Day, not long ago, I said hi to the cops and said, happy Memorial Day. I appreciate your service. I respect the uniform. But they're not, I've not seen any cops doing a beat, walking around. Maybe once in the very early spring or the fall, I saw some cops walking around. But, to me, the cops went from, I don't know if you can see me, but they went from like nothing to boom, like dozens of cops in almost riot gear going and clearing the place out without warning. I don't know anyone who asked for that. And I've not seen a middle ground of cops walking around and just kind of keeping things more orderly. As we'll see, if you look here, somewhere in here, I forget where, there's some quotes of just no one's keeping order or even just keeping it from escalating. All right, so let me go to the images. That's all I didn't know about what happened last night with the taser, the guy wielding the taser and the woman getting bloodied. But nonetheless, this morning I woke up and I thought, I'm just going to go walk around my neighborhood, get out my camera and take pictures of Greenwich Village near where I live. And I figured I'd go over to 7th Avenue by Christopher Street Station, and then I'd go over to Washington Square Park. This is very clean compared to usual. I believe that there had been some cleaning this morning because normally there's a lot more garbage here. This is outside my building. I mean, this is not even crossing the street. This restaurant here, there used to be a garbage can here, but restaurants have picked up that they are moving garbage cans away from themselves. So a lot of garbage cans, they move them to where it's not near the restaurant. So there would be something right here. Now across the street, I'm sorry, this is it from the other view. This is my building. As you can see, the bodega is not open yet because it's really early in the morning. Look at this graffiti, like spit. I was talking to someone earlier today, showing them these pictures, and I was pointing out how this bag is going to be here 500 years from now. Not here, it will not have decomposed for another 500 years. 500 years ago was like Shakespeare or Galileo. And what we remember from Shakespeare is like great literature. And what we are going to leave, what 500 years from now, they're not just going to remember us if we live to tell. This bag will be there. Someone will see this bag and billions of others just like it. Not poetry, not like discoveries of moons going around Saturn, but this actual garbage. Okay. This is across the street just to the east. And this is also very little compared to usual. This is diagonal across the street from my place. This is a beautiful park. And there's usually a lot more garbage here, a lot more there. So it's relatively clean. This is down the block from across the street from me. I'm now heading eastward. This is really what you see every day. This to me is not, I don't know what neighborhoods. Oh, and by the way, I decided when I record the podcast, I stop recording when there's noise outside. But now I'm not going to. If there's noise outside, you'll get to hear it. Anyway, so this is down the block from me. Walking down, this is like supposedly a really nice area of Greenwich Village. This is normal. This is what's there all the time. Actually, this sign here, you can't see it, but it says, "We just planted this, please keep this clean." There's normally a lot of stuff inside here. This is down the block from there, still heading eastward. This Rosencrantz, I've walked in there and said to them, please stop using disposable cups. And they say, oh, what can we do? It's a pandemic. We have to give disposable stuff. And that's not our stuff out there anyway. What can we do? And I was like, you can take responsibility for something outside. But whatever. This is normally, there's a lot of garbage down on the street here. So this is overflowing. That's normal. This, by the way, is 7:30 in the morning. Now I'm walking down, if I walk down this street here, this garbage here is this. Now this, most people would say, well, this isn't litter. This is some apartment buildings trash. But it's still using up public space. This is still filling a landfill. This used to be a month's worth of garbage for a building. Now this is every single day. Walking down the block again to the left, here's on 10 Gay Street, or 10 Christopher Street, this is Gay Street here. And now we're gonna go, I think the next shot is of a restaurant. You know, all these restaurants have built these little sheds where they can do the outdoor stuff. This is inside the shed. Some guy, you know, they lock the stuff up, the chairs and tables, and some guy's sleeping there. This is the shed, and normally this is like a fancy restaurant. So that guy's sleeping there. Down the block from there, wherever there's dirt and plants, people just put cups, bottles, Doritos, more, just this is garbage. Someone locked up their bikes, so now it's just surrounded by garbage. I mean, this is normal. Across the street from there, this is like a fancy restaurant. Garbage. This is probably their garbage, but it's also just people just, when there's a little corner, every horizontal surface, every corner is fair game for people to put garbage. This is now looking down Christopher Street where it's Pride Week. This is Pride Month, and Pride Week, the parade is next Sunday, so a week from tomorrow. And so Stonewall Inn is up here. Anyway, so this is garbage. There's Stonewall. And I presume that this scaffolding is going to be gone, but this is the garbage. This is where Pride is. This is down the block a bit from there. This is now the Christopher Street station's there. This is Village Cigars, which is a somewhat iconic, you know, if you look at Manhattan, the Woody Allen movie from the 80s, that's in the early beginning. This is that garbage that I just showed you. This is up the block from there, more garbage. I wanted to get Village Cigars in there. And this is very little. These blocks are there to protect pedestrians when they're crossing the street. And people sit there and just drop their stuff. And let's look in the water. This is the water on 7th Avenue and Christopher Street. But it's regular. This is what is everywhere. Down the block from there, looking back up to the stone wall, more garbage. More garbage. Someone dropped off their empty box of Tampax. This is the entrance to someone's building. This is, oh, you can't hear this, but these guys at 7:30, maybe it's 8 o'clock by now, have music playing really loud. And I don't know what they're doing, but it's really loud. Garbage. I don't know what they're doing, but it was really loud music. So sorry, couldn't hear the music from there. Okay, so down the block a bit, more garbage. More garbage. This is really, I'm not going out of my way. This is back on Christopher Street. I've now circled back to 7th Avenue. I don't know what this is. It's just sitting there. And I think this is after it's been cleaned. So now I'm walking toward Washington Square Park. This is all the time. I mean, yes, this was a Saturday morning. Could have been any day. All right, now I want to point out, a lot of people say people litter. Now, do you see how this garbage bag is open here? That's because homeless people or people who aren't living here, they produce a lot of waste, but the people who live here, it's so predictable that if you go through enough garbage bags, you will find valuable things, including food, because people here waste so much that it makes sense to rip up the garbage bags. So most garbage bags are ripped open. A lot of the garbage around trash cans is because people are rooting through the trash because there's perfectly good food in there, because I don't want to say this is just people who don't live here making this problem. It's people who live here are making this problem as well. What do you call it? The curb, not the curb, the gutter is constantly filled with little coffee cups and things. I'm pretty sure that when people get in their cars, they open the door and just kind of put this down there and then go on their way. Sometimes there's water bottles that are yellow, filled with urine. And these are like probably would normally be really expensive brownstones. And people, when I talk to my neighbors, there are a lot of people who are talking about moving away. A lot already have. This wouldn't ordinarily be a beautiful plant. In the spring, normally crocuses poke out through the snow. Well, this year, for one thing, the snow melted earlier than the crocuses came out because it's global warming. For another thing, the crocuses came out and the flowers come out through plastic, not through snow. They come out through plastic. That's our world. This is not supposed to be broken. A car jumped the curb or who knows what, but knocked over this. Some people put the time and effort to put something in here to protect the plants that they want to grow here. Garbage. This is no doubt, I expect that someone just dropped this out of their car. This is down by, we're getting close to the West 4th Street subway stop. This is kind of iconic. Papaya Dog's been there forever. It's not really particularly pretty, but whatever. It's a private business. They're doing business. They've been there for a long time. I don't really like the food there. I've never eaten there. It's just doof. I shouldn't say food, but doof. And this is, again, much less garbage than normally. Normally, it's all into here. Going back to the other side of the street now, this is Washington Square Coffee Shop. This is a lovely little park here, although also normally filled with garbage. I don't know what this is. Someone's stuff is locked up. I don't know if it's I don't know what this is. But stuff like this is all over the place. Wait till you see what comes next. Here's some guy. We'll see him closer up. Not lying there. He's totally blotto. And by coincidence, there was someone taking a picture of it. I caught him in the picture. I didn't talk to him, but he was also taking a bunch of pictures of this guy. But this isn't it. Now, this is the guy again. Don't know what's in the hand, reaching down in his butt. But look at this. What is this? It's like a ton of stuff. Let's get a little closer. It's discarded food. It's garbage. It's a horrible mess. I don't know what, these vans are parked here all the time. The infrastructure people, the New York City Transit people are there all the time. Let's look at this from the other side. Oh, a little closer. The birds are eating it. This is nature now. This is what wildlife is, birds eating garbage. Here's it from the other side. Turns out there's a guy in there. He was blotto. When I say blotto, I mean, not coherent. He didn't say anything to me. I guess he was sleeping. There's that guy that was taking the picture before. Then here's that shot again. Again, there's that guy. I don't know if he's sleeping, like sleeping, or just drugged out or what. But these are the famous Washington, West 4th Street basketball courts. It's a pretty famous location. Here's the courts again as I'm walking to the south of them. I wanted to point out every horizontal surface in the city is fair game for people putting their litter there. And I kind of can imagine the feeling that they have of, here's this thing in my hand, I don't want it. If I put it here, it's taken care of. It's not my problem. The net problem in the world hasn't decreased, but it's not mine anymore. It even says trash up here, trash water. I don't know what that says. But this is just a close-up of everywhere, horizontal surfaces and little corners, little places where you can't see stuff. There's also garbage in the court. This used to be a McDonald's or Burger King, and I think a McDonald's, and it just looks like garbage. There's that park to the side. Oh, that's a different park that I talked about before. And normally there's a lot more waste here. It's clearly been cleaned. It's been cleaned up. So I should have, maybe I'll do this again going out earlier in the morning. Here's a corner, regular corner. Someone lives here, or maybe it's a building. Oh, no, that's a sign. And there's just garbage everywhere. Chick-fil-A. I don't even know where the Chick-fil-A is. I don't think there's one around here. So I don't know. They must have taken the subway. Garbage all around. Everywhere where there's like a little plant, people put their garbage. This was in front of a building, and I presume that someone wanted a nice thing. I mean, look, they put the safety thing here to keep people from stealing those things. Well, that didn't stop people from putting their garbage in. Here's a shed for some restaurant, and I guess it looked like someone just tore apart an outdoor fence, maybe? I don't know. I mean, destroyed, and just sitting there. This one is normally overfull too. Let's look across the corner from there. These are normally overflowing, but just garbage. This is NYU's, I forget what building, it's an NYU building here. So now I'm gonna go over closer to that and get up closer. Again, people going through, figuring there's likely gonna be food in there. So they open that up. Again, that's normally more full than that. Getting closer up, it's overflowing, and I don't know how the garbage cans get this way. I guess sometimes you see people who collect the stuff for the deposit return. So they'll open these up and take these out and not put them back in again. Now I've entered Washington Square Park. You may know that in the southwest corner of Washington Square Park, there's the famous chess things. If you ever watched Searching for Bobby Fischer, during the day, probably at this time, it's afternoon now, Saturday. I'm sure this place would be filled right now with people playing chess. I think they hustle. Anyway, people play cards. This is, again, a little cleaner than normal. But here, the next shot is, okay, this is the table. Here we go. People play cards, and every time they just leave the cards. Every time they come in with a new deck of cards. I don't know why they don't keep the old cards. Anyway, they just leave it there. That's the way it is. Just leave the stuff. Here's another table. It's got some beer bottles. I took this picture really quick because over here you can see 8 a.m. This is people. All right, I made a point of I didn't want to take pictures of people because some of these people I recognize and recognize me, and I didn't want to come through and be the guy taking pictures of people. There's a couple shots I got of people. This guy here I've actually had a couple long conversations with, and he's come up and talked to me about, I can't really put into, I mean, he's like, he sees me picking up garbage, and he says, I can't believe people here are this way. And he says, he's described to me the differences he sees between, as he puts it, white people, and he says the N-word, I can't say it, but he talks about, white people, you guys are weird, but you guys, I know what to expect from you. But these N-words, they treat me terrible, and they treat this place terrible, and it shouldn't be done like this. And I've had a couple of long conversations with him, but this particular morning, he was out. I walked past, he's just kind of on whatever he's on. Now you can clearly see that this bag has been recently emptied. This would normally be overflowing, but nonetheless, there's this pizza thing. Did someone just put it there since this was emptied? Or did the person who emptied this not take that? In any case, this is the people that I was talking about before. Oh, that's a shot. So as I went by, I just took a picture with the camera without looking, just holding it. So I got the shot that I shot. Okay, so they're drinking beer at 8 a.m. Another shot, just kind of furtively taking it. There's just stuff all around, and someone sleeping. All right, that one I took because that guy was just sleeping there. And I tried to keep it very anonymous. So people will sit during the day. I don't want to say it's just homeless people because the garbage comes from everyone. And there's a lot of NYU students, although not as many over the summer, a lot of people from the neighborhood, there's a lot of people from all over New York City, New Jersey, that come in. Actually, one of those articles had a quote from someone from New Jersey, comes in and it's like, there's nothing to do out in the suburbs, so we come into the city. And they sit there and they'll eat their lunch. And I know what's going to happen. They're going to eat it and they're either going to lay it on top of an overflowing trash can or they're just going to leave it there. They just walk away and leave like about 75% of the people who come in bring in containers. That is to say, they bring in something that they want to put in their mouth, some food, but mostly doof, and they don't walk out with the garbage. They leave the garbage in there. So this is a sock. Next to the sock, there was just a pair of jeans in what would normally be beautiful plants. This is every day. You know, I didn't go out of my way. This is just me walking through the park. Actually, this is when I was here. Oh yeah, I don't think you can see this, but this is canned food. I don't know if you can see it says oatmeal there, and there's some black beans. Actually, the black bean bag was sealed, so I took the beans home, and I really should have taken the oatmeal because I eat the oats. But I try to avoid packaging. But if it's in the garbage here, so I took that. I don't know if this was maybe someone gave a homeless person some food, maybe someone bought it and left it. I don't know, but it's just sitting there. This is perfectly sealed cans. And to the left of here, a couple benches down was some guy, and he says, "Hey, what are you up to?" And I said, "I'm not taking pictures of people, just I'm taking pictures of the garbage." And he starts saying, people see it, but they don't see it. They know, but they don't know. They see someone on drugs, but they don't know what brought the person there. So I talked to him for a few minutes about what brings people there and what's there. And I said, I told him, by the way, I picked up the bag of beans. And he's like, yeah, I wish I had a place where I could cook the beans, but I don't. Anyway, this is the bench down from there. Oh, wrong direction. That's closer up. Oh, there's the can of beans, bag of beans. I wonder if it's within reach. No, I can't quite see it on my countertop. Anyway, like what's going on here? Like we hollow out the orange and leave the crock, and I don't know what's going on here. Pizza box everywhere. This is wildlife as the pigeons are kind of eating through garbage. This is Washington Square Park. This is just at the edge to the left of here is the northwest corner that's been sealed off. But was someone cleaning this and they finished? I don't know. But this is also the place where I pick up every day. These are NYU buildings, prime real estate, and here's garbage. Someone brought a chair in and just left it. Little Ben & Jerry's finished. That can was perfectly good food. On the other side from next to that chair, this is the thing that seals off the northwest corner. So people come up here, I don't know, there's a scale, go figure. Someone's shoe, the other one, the matching shoe is somewhere nearby, I remember. Race inequality in the law. So if someone's giving out some information sheet that itself becomes garbage, the leaking, the garbage, everything's garbage. It's more garbage. And this is just regular stuff. Someone's like, oh, I'm going to have a root beer, and I'll just leave this here. I'll just leave it all through there. And if this, even places where it's clean, if you look very carefully, there's garbage. Again, I'm not looking out for anything. You can see the golden hour sunlight coming in. The sun's low on the horizon. The iconic fountain in the middle of Washington Square Park. Here's a little garbage. This part had been cleaned out. I could hear already that they had the leaf blowers. So they got these 2-stroke engines, the people cleaning the park. A little closer in. I don't know what's going on with this guy. All right, so I did take pictures of some people, but there are people playing guitar, and I'm a big fan of the jazz musicians. And there's a law against you have to have a permit, or else it's not legal to play loud music. What do you call it? Amplified music. So people playing jazz, people playing guitar, I'm a big fan of it, even till late. Now, when the DJ is set up and they play music amplified, and there's people coming through on mopeds and scooters, on motorized vehicles. We'll get to the skateboards in a little bit too. Now, this person here with the green shirt, the green shirt means Washington Square Park Conservancy, so she's there cleaning things up. That's how I can tell things have been cleaned. Like this trash can would normally be overflowing. Again, everywhere where there's dirt, people are like, that's where to put the garbage. That is like somehow the normal place to put garbage for people. These little airplane bottles, especially this Fireball one, there's a lot of those. I think they're really sweet, but they're everywhere. People get, this water bottle happens to be empty, but a lot of the water bottles are like half or 3/4 full. So people on a whim, oh, you know what? I feel a little bit of thirst. Now there are water fountains all over the place, but they go in and get a bottle of water, and this water bottle for their 30 seconds, they could just go home and wait until they get home and drink water then. But no, they have to get it then, and this bottle will be there for 500 years. We get Shakespeare, we leave for others. This fountain is a beautiful, normally a beautiful part of Washington Square Park, of New York City, and this is what happens. A wine bottle, it's not legal to drink alcohol in public at all. Trash everywhere. Trash, trash, trash. Beautiful location. Normally, I say normally it would be a beautiful location, but this is normal. This is the new normal. Garbage, garbage. I don't know, some guy's walking around with a big garbage bag. Is he picking up garbage? I'm not sure. But there's plenty of garbage. This is the Washington Square Arch, looking up Fifth Avenue. Through the fountain, you can see the Empire State Building there. These are like 1 Fifth Avenue, 2 Fifth Avenue. They're like really like right on the park views. Actually, in the Spider-Man, I think, or one of the Avengers movies, had a big scene through like this angle almost. And I assume these property values are dropping because of this stuff. This to me looks like acne. These are like pimples. And again, this is cleaned up. I think this is someone with a leaf blower. And they're not like as if a 2-stroke engine. They're kind of loud. That's how they clean it up. Garbage, 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 garbage. Garbage, 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 garbage. So someone's sitting there eating food, and you know what? I'm done. I'm done eating the food. It's time to go. And someone will come and pick this up. Actually, when I was in line outside the police precinct thing that was full and I couldn't get in, there were a whole bunch of people getting really rowdy in front saying, oh, let the black people in, let the black people in. Because this is being framed as rich, white, old residents are trying to keep out kids from having fun. And that is, they are clearly getting the camera attention. Because, anyway, this is, when I was out there, some guy, one of those teenagers, I would guess, maybe he was about 20 years old, he was eating a burger and had a wrapper, and he just dropped both things on the ground. And I said to him, there's a trash can right there. And he's like, oh, well, someone's just going to pick it up. And, it's, I don't want to, it's so messy. And he says, look, there's other garbage here anyway. And then someone that he was with picked up the garbage. Maybe she overheard this. And he goes, oh, and, it is what it is because she picked it up anyway. And he says, people are going to come pick it up. People have this attitude that sanitation is going to come and pick this up. This is not a Department of Sanitation issue. This is not the tub is draining too slowly. We got to turn off the spigot. I did a piece, I published a piece in the Village Sun saying that we will improve business when we cut out single-use plastic. I don't mean just plastic bags. I mean all cups, coffee cups, whatever. This is like a little Capri Sun type drink pouch, but also wrappers, takeout wrappers for Doritos and things. When we stop doing that, that will improve business in the same way that when they banned cigarettes and they thought, oh, if we ban cigarettes, people are going to leave the city because they're going to want to go to New Jersey and because they want to smoke. I mean, banning cigarettes in restaurants and bars. They want to have a cigarette when they smoke or when they drink after work. Turns out a couple years later, New Jersey had to ban cigarettes because people were going from New Jersey into Manhattan because once they saw how clean it could be, they wanted to go there. And so I tell you, oh, and also when CVS, one of their CVS drugs became CVS Health, and they stopped selling their number one profit center, which was cigarettes. Everyone said, you're going to go out of business. Everyone else is just going to sell that stuff anyway. And within 12 months, their profits were back up again, and the other stores copied them. They set the tone. When people see what clean and healthy can be, they prefer clean and healthy. And right now, when we try to ban plastic bags, the plastic people, heavily funded through fossil fuels, because not everyone knows plastic is made out of fossil fuels, and Exxon, Chevron, DuPont, Dow, they all make tons of money off of this. So there's a lot of greenwashing, astroturfing to protect this, but this is it. This is what plastic is. Beautiful park. Would be a beautiful park. It may never be a beautiful park again. I mean, I'll show you some pictures later of why it may never be a beautiful park again unless we act. This is like cholera comes from situations like this. Bottle. Who knows what this stuff is? Takeout containers. What would be a beautiful arch. No cops. Look at these flowers that would be, people take time, some from the neighborhood, some from the conservancy. Giant bottles. Oh, I'm done with it. I'll just drop it over here. And this is all trampled. Can you see how, I don't know if you can see how trampled these things are. Oh, let's go out and have some drinks. And we'll get some ketchup. Oh, it fell on the ground. Oh, well. Garbage. Chips Ahoy. Coca-Cola. I'm like, sometimes I see this and I could cry. Broken bottle. And I don't understand how people can see this and not be hurt. Like Crying Indian ad from the 70s. I don't want to feel bad. I don't want to feel disgust. But if there's something disgusting, I want to feel disgust. And if there's this, I want to hurt. How can we not feel ourselves pained? How can we possibly allow Gatorade to do this? This is playground. So she's off to go to her workout, I guess. A couple of people sleeping off whatever they're sleeping off. Little Frosted Flakes, another box of Frosted Flakes over there. Oh, let's write 2021 on the ground. They come in and sandblast this stuff, but someone's like, oh, I just want to write a little stuff down, and it lasts for a long time. Here's the class. Teaching at NYU, I taught a class in this building here. This is the one building, Judson Church, that's not NYU owned, but otherwise every single building around Washington Square Park is NYU owned. Now it's summer, so not many NYU students around. NYU not taking responsibility. They're happy to build buildings around here and own all the space and do their events where they kick people out. I've been on both sides with NYU because I've taught, as I mentioned. I've taken classes with NYU, and I'm a resident. And I see institutionalization of the neighborhood. Because if you look at old maps, this used to be grass, or this space here was grassy, and then they put the building there. Someone's pants. Who knows what just got spilled here? How do you leave an event and you left your pants there? A bottle. Look at that. The flower's trying so hard. Can't quite fit this in. Here's a playground over here. This is actually near the northwest corner. If you go up this path, it's the northwest corner, which is blocked off. And they knew not to come past this. The heroin and crack users are over to the left of here. And they knew not to come, so the parents would come on this path here and bring their kids into there, and the drug users would be over to the far left. And when a parent would go the other way, they would kind of say, oh, kid coming through, and they try to straighten themselves up. But this is normal. Hey kids, this is what you grow up with as normal. When I grew up, it was sad enough if you watch my TEDx talk to see my sledding hill disappear, or to be, there's the cars outside, I don't know if you could hear that, with the mufflers deactivated so they could sound like race cars. But this is what, whatever you thought was normal, if you're my age, I'm turning 50 in about a month. If you're my age, this is like very dirty. But if you're young, this is normal. And what I grew up with in the 70s was dirty compared to 40, 50 years before that. This was a just emptied trash can, but got the stuff from there. There's one group that comes through with that gets the bags out of the trash cans, and there's others that pick up the stuff off the ground. So I guess this is left for who knows how long. From the other side, oh, I'm done eating. I'll just leave that there. Someone will pick it up. I pay my taxes. It's not my business to clean it. Besides, everyone else left there, so why shouldn't I leave mine? Oh, there's CBS. the aforementioned CVS. This is the part where the cops cordon it all off. So inside here is just cops. I don't know if people threw the stuff in or if the cops left it behind, but they're not there right now. I wanted to get this. If someone put some money in, follow the light, to pay for a bench, and because they anticipated a brighter future. But that's not what you get here. What you get is this and this and this. Some Goya, a cup. I'm done with my salad. I'll just leave it here. Maybe someone will eat it. I'm done with whatever that was too. I'll just leave it here. Again, not going out of my way. There's a sprinkler going off here, which is why it's all wet. And this, I don't know, it didn't come out quite how big this bag is. This gray art gallery is one of the places where NYU shows off their features artists within the NYU community. And here's this cup just sitting there. Here is some, a sealed container with, it was smoked, I can't see what it says here, but it shows up in the next one. Blue Hill Bay smoked seafood. This is a different one, smoked trout. So this is on a different bench. So someone's been leaving their smoked trout around. Why is that here? I have no idea. I'm done with my food. I'll just leave it there. Perhaps some drug paraphernalia. This time I wasn't going for the drug paraphernalia. And maybe another time I'll do just the baggies and just the syringes. I'm just taking, the easy pictures here, not rooting through where they left the drug stuff. And I also didn't want to go where the people were while they're there. But see, they're there all the time now, so I can't really go when they're not there. A little Mexican food. A little street lamp. Everything behind, where there's a little nook. People like to put stuff in the little nooks. I took this because I thought it said Sour Patch, but it actually says Stoner Patch, because there's a trend right now to make drug paraphernalia stuff look like, I don't know if this is candy or if it's the drug stuff, but it looks like Sour Patch, but I didn't notice until I looked at the picture that it's Stoner Patch. A little more garbage from an upscale place. And do you notice how trampled? A lot of times people cross over there, men, women urinate. Want some strawberry lemonade? No, I already finished a container. I just threw it back there. Oh, the pizza looked all messed up. It didn't come out in the picture. More garbage. So this is where the skateboarders skateboard a lot. And they sit there smoking weed and leaving. So this step here is in front of the statue of Garibaldi. And the skateboarders would jump up and do the thing where they slide the skateboard along here, and it was messing things up. So the police put these planters here to stop people from doing that. And somehow the planters, that's a trash can, I guess. And I don't know what this barricade, how that got put there. And then across from there, at this point my camera was saying the battery was very low. It was going to shut off, so I didn't frame any of these pictures. But this is across from that Garibaldi statue. And there's the space here is where performers perform sometime, and it's just this. It's a place for garbage. Why would I clean it when someone's going to come and clean it later? And again, I keep talking about cleaning. The issue is, why would I not get something that is poison for the environment? Where does it, all that plastic in the ocean, where does it come from? Here's where it comes from. It's not when you leave it on the ground. There are two times when plastic happens and all this litter happens. One is when someone buys bottled water, say, or any of this plastic. When you put your money down to buy it, that's when that fuels the system. It's not any one person that does this. The fuel to the system is money. And when you buy disposable stuff, that's what drives it. That's you pedaling the pedals of the system. The other is in the boardroom when they decide, you know what, let's make bottled water. Bottled water companies don't sell water. Water is available free. They sell bottles. They sell plastic. So when they decide, the board members decide, or the CEO and the executives, when they decide this is our strategy, that's when the direction is picked. And when you put your money down, that's what drives this. It may get to the ocean through this stuff being left on the street and it eventually washes away into the ocean directly, or it may get into the ocean because it gets into a trash can, but then eventually makes it into a landfill. And then within 100 years, the sea levels are going to empty those landfills, because we may protect Manhattan, but we're not going to protect Fresh Kills or all these other landfills. And it's all just going to float out and drift out into the open ocean. because the sea levels are rising and everyone's flying around imagining that someone else is doing it but not them. I don't know where this is acceptable. I don't know where this is a couple kids having fun. Look at the beautiful sunlight. And this is stuff. So now I've left Washington Square Park. I'm walking home. This is, I think, down the block from Babbo, a world famous restaurant. The other day, no, maybe 2 weeks ago, I was walking by and I was just picking up my daily trash, and I went to pick up an aluminum tray from takeout, and I went to just pick it up because I saw aluminum, and I usually try to get aluminum because there are recycling bins, so I try to put the recycling in the recycling. And when I picked it up, there was a syringe in it, and I suppose someone had been cooking whatever they cook in that aluminum thing. And I went up to the maitre d' and I'm walking through Babbo's little shed, between the shed and the building, and I'm just dressed like a neighborhood guy because I'm a neighborhood guy, and the maitre d' or whoever the host for the Babbo sees me carrying this thing, and I say, I just picked this up from right there, and I point to where I picked it up, and he looks at it. He kind of jumped like I did because it's a syringe steps away from one of the top restaurants in the world. And he says, yeah, we know that we see people shooting up down the block on the other side of Babbo because people aren't staying in these places. People are moving out. Trader Joe's, by the way, I don't know if it says recycle. Everything Trader Joe's, I'm sorry, everything, 90% of Trader Joe's stuff is bagged. Their business model is wrap stuff up in disposable stuff. And they put the word recycle on everything as if, like, please recycle this, or made from recycled stuff. Scam. That is a scam. They are making their stuff cheap by externalizing the cost of this mess that's poisoning our wildlife. It's in our bloodstreams. So now we're getting back close to where I live. I've now crossed 6th Avenue. Oh, you may know there's this iconic, it's a library. A lot of people think it's a church, Jefferson Market Church. And I caught the reflection of it in the water here. And this is Alio and Pio, a restaurant that's very popular. And this is the way things are. This is the way things are. So I circled around. So now I want to go back to I wonder if I can find that story here about the New Jersey, that quote from the woman from New Jersey. Officers stood by as people drank beer and nutcrackers, don't know what that is, and smoked weed around the fountain, even as one man yelled, F you, F the cops, at the barricaded police. The police, look at them, they're talking to each other. They're not doing anything. I wouldn't mind a few cops just walking around, just being a presence. Olivia Stevens, an 18-year-old college student from New Jersey, comes to Greenwich Village Park 3 times a week because the suburbs are boring and my friends and I have nothing else to do. They don't have anything to do there. They're just doing it somewhere else. I think anyone should be allowed outside to do whatever they want outside. Hey, it's a free country. I'm a big fan of people doing legal things. So let me get to the next one. Just coincidence. I happen to be reading the story that says Scotland apparently played England in some European tournament, and the Scotland fans went to clean up the litter in central London. So apparently 20,000 people from Scotland came down to watch a game, and this was Leicester Square, and so a bigger mess than we had because it was a particularly big game. But some people went and cleaned it up. But look at that mess. And what's this about? Am I talking about cleaning my neighborhood? Yeah, 10% that. But what it's really about is the environment, because the plastic is going to be there forever. And we're buying it and we're not realizing what's going on. So here, you're probably American. So Las Vegas cooks amid blazing heat wave. It's going to get worse. Where are we? 116 degrees Fahrenheit, 46.6 degrees Celsius. And I am dying. I feel like I'm going to pass out. No mystery where this is coming from. They are experiencing this because of what people did last generation and 2 generations ago and 3 generations ago. That's what's causing global warming. And what we're doing will affect people a generation from now, a generation after that, a generation after that. Actually, 10,000 years from now, they're going to be affected by what we're doing today. Or we could change. We could change our behavior and not make this happen. we're, yeah, what it said, where was it? It said that as the population is booming and construction continues even on the hottest days, there's no mystery that the number of people on the planet is over what's sustainable. And yet we don't realize, we don't take the lead from Machai Viravaidya in Thailand and many, many other countries through purely non-coercive, purely voluntary means, lower the birth rate to below replacement, achieving health, longevity, prosperity, abundance, not, I feel like I'm dying. And now here's what I'm going to close on. There's a movie called The Story of Plastic. I highly recommend watching it, and also watching The Story of Stuff, which is the people who, go to thestoryofstuff.org or .com and watch the Story of Stuff video and watch a couple of their videos. And they did a full-length documentary, The Story of Plastic, which I held an online screening for and a panel. And these are scenes from the movie. This is, I'm not sure where this is. I think the Philippines. But it's the Philippines, Indonesia, and India that really showed, covered, where's another shot of, this is, I think, Indonesia, mountains of garbage. And they pick it up and they're like, oh, this says United States on it. This says Canada on it. This says China on it. You know, they're not producing it, but they're accepting it for now. This is a mountain of trash. And outside of New Delhi, it was, I mean, literal mountains. I mean, mountains, bigger than buildings. This is what we have to look forward to. This is the third world. And people are very quick to say, oh, all this plastic stuff, all that garbage is because they don't have the means to dispose of it. They don't manage their waste. It is not a matter of managing waste. This is not a matter of poorly managed waste. This is strategic decisions by companies that are making profit off of this. And we Westerners are the shareholders in those companies. And if you look at these places 10 years ago, they look like Washington Square Park now. Why do we think what happens there would not happen here? Because if you look at the numbers, here we have streams of this stuff. I mean, you can drive cars over this. Look at this one. And this is not, the India ones were even bigger. This is normal. Do you think that this is not going to happen in the United States? Because we are producing more plastic than ever. All that fracking stuff in the Midwest, they're using it to make more plastic. Here we go. What is this? This is garbage. And the runoff, there's farms near here. People live here. Look at the size of a person and look at the size of this. I would say if we don't get our act together and say no more plastic, at least no more single use, let's start with that. This is the United States. This is Western Europe. This is everywhere. Do you think that this was not the most beautiful place in the world before this? Is there any hope that the only way we can stop this is to turn off the spigot, make plastic illegal, at least the single-use stuff? So I'm going to go back to my pictures and close just with a couple pictures. This is what they're saying is one of the richest neighborhoods in the world. I'm not particularly rich, not on that scale. I just bought a long time ago. Do you see how a little while ago trash like this was not around? Now it's normal, it's everywhere. This is where the parade is going to be in a week. Yeah, this here, normally sometimes you see like, how can I describe it? How there's like 10 carts that one person will be carrying around, overflowing with these things. I'm going to go one cycle through, right? This is iconic. Iconic. I'm going to go one cycle through these just so we can see again. This is what people are saying. Whoever frames this as an issue of rich, old, white people trying to keep just kids having fun out. I can't speak to anyone else. Maybe there are a bunch of rich, white, old people who are saying use the cops as riot police to push them out. I'm not saying that. I'm more than happy for people to have a good time obeying the law. I don't even mind the weed, which is not technically legal yet, but the cops, the governor said don't prosecute anyone. All right, I'm fine with that. Smoking in the parks, I think, is not allowed. I'll do that. I'll go for that. But the motorized vehicles, the DJ equipment and the amplified music, and the litter, and the hard drugs, and the dealing. I'll mention that the weed dealers have been there forever. They've been there as long as I've been there, and it's different. Someone who sells weed versus someone who does crack or heroin, because the weed dealers are looking for customers, and they want to be presentable. So, and they want people to come back. They don't want people out of the park. The heroin users and the crack users, they're not, they go around and ask for change every now and then and come back, and then I guess they buy it. And I've heard them saying like, hey, I want a $1 bag, something like that. And they go out and get a couple bucks and they come back, and then they're just like blotto. I don't know how to describe it. They're like bent over in their, on the benches in some inhuman position. And the trash around them is much more. There's no looking out for the future of the park or anything. And I'm not saying that it's an individual issue. I mean, there's big systemic issues that lead to this stuff. The disparities of wealth and I don't know if once you get here or even close to here, the chance of getting out of there is like zero. So what else do you have except to leave your jeans in the park? And, I talk to these guys. I talk to, and the women too. Not long conversations, but some. I've had like 45-minute conversations with them. And they talk about what led them to get there. And it's very sad. And it's not them. Maybe there's some individuals, and there's certainly some people who are incoherent and crazy. But there's a lot of people that, like, you can tell they don't want to be there. They don't want to be doing what they're doing. But there's no way out. And your wealth in this country is more determined by where you were born, and which you can't change, than by how much work you do. The weed dealers are working. They're at risk. They could be put in jail. Well, they won't be, because the cops don't go in the park except around that barricaded area around the arch. And the arch they barricade, I don't know why that's the only place that they barricade, this barricade around it. I mean, this got really graffitied, and so there's a lot of times they go through with the sandblaster, not the cops, but city officials sandblast that to clean it. So you can tell, I'm here every day. I'm here in the pouring rain. I'm here in the snow. I was here all through the winter, every day. That's how I knew I could go out in the morning and just take pictures. Almost done. People getting up, going out their day. So there we go.